Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic Unleashed. We're starting with the cutscene I cut around last time, so see you afterwards.
Hey, Tails!
Sonic?
What are you doing out here?
Sonic, is that really you? That's a new look. What happened?
You know me. Never a dull moment.
Want some chocolate?
Thanks. That's some story. I'll bet that means that you turning into that and the planet breaking apart are somehow related.
I need to find Eggman and make him fix this, and fast!
About that, I think I know someone who might know something about what's going on here.
Oh, really?
Professor Pickle over at Spagonia University. I came to this city to gather some data. If we add that to his research findings, we might be able to get to the bottom of all this.
Spagonia? That's a continent over. An easy jog if the planet weren't broken.
No problem. My Tornado 1 will get us there in a flash. Let's get going!
Leave it to you, Tails. Let's get moving. Here comes the parade!
I've got this one, Sonic. Tornado, battle mode engaged.
I really like the seamless transition from cutscene to gameplay here, which is about the last positive thing I have to say about this weird segment here. First of all, my big problem is pacing related. You have just gotten out of a Werehog level that can take you quite a long time. The very first time I played this game, I had like a 30-minute timer on that, and then immediately you have a cutscene and get plopped into this with no warning and no obvious way to save. I'm pretty sure the game does autosave, so if I were to close the game right now, I would start at the beginning of the tornado segment. But you don't know that, right? So you feel compelled to play this, and you have probably done a lot of QuickTime events as a Werehog just now, so you're just doing a bunch more forced. It's just not great. Secondly, this is an obvious homage to Sonic Adventure Sky Chase segments where you were also flying on the tornado and had to shoot down enemies. However, it's worse. This is only QuickTime events and there is nothing else to it. In the Sky Chase segments, like in another homage to Panzer Dragoon, you could at least paint all of the enemies with your cursor and then shoot them down in combos. It was very much more engaging. I still didn't like it that much because it's just not the kind of gameplay I play Sonic for. Obvious Werehog joke goes here, but it was fine and kind of cool, and you were flying around the giant battleship and so on. And here it's just a blue sky and you press some buttons. It's not very fun. It also has a bunch of mechanics to it which make it seem like this is going to be a regular thing and it's going to escalate and become much harder and there's going to be a lot more enemies, because it makes sense, right? That you would think, okay, we are flying from Apatos to Spagonia now, and then the next thing we're going to do is fly from Spagonia to Missouri, so you have a different sky, different backdrop, no more islands, but the jungle shows up and so on, and you have to keep doing this, and it's terrifying in a way, because again, it's not very fun. It can get kind of difficult in the sense that if you do miss a bunch of shots, you will get hit, your shield will go down, and your energy to the bottom right will also go down, and then you have to mash the shoulder buttons to replenish it, which Tails does tell you about, but I feel like most players immediately forget, because it almost never comes up unless you are extremely struggling. If you're struggling, then you have other issues and you won't think about pushing the buttons, so Also mechanically just not the best in my opinion. But at the very least, we now have a little bit more action after a whole bunch of just, you know, pressing buttons. The thing is, you're still just pressing buttons, so that's not great. But at the very least, we do have a glimpse of Eggman, we have a boss fight, and we have really cool music. I really like that one, especially because they have decided to reprise the Sonic 06 Eggman theme, which is great, and one of the few ways in which they do actually acknowledge that the game exists, you know. I fail here, and this is entirely because you have to press the button to hit the exposed weak point of the boss exactly 5 times. If you press it 6 times, that's already a failure, and that keeps tripping me up because you want to mash the button. The game is presenting this correctly, because it's the case, as a timed thing. You cannot hit the boss for too long. You have to hit the button really quickly, while also defending against the missiles, of course, and this always leads me to overmash the button. So this basically requires a lot of control and a lot of patience, while also being fast. So this is legitimately difficult, but not in a way that I enjoy. And as I said already, I am quite bad at hitting correct buttons at the correct time, so I don't know, man. What's also kind of interesting here is that you have a time limit to the top left, which is completely unremarked upon by the game, and you might not even notice that you have, like, I keep forgetting it. And as far as I know, this is not a time limit working against you. I'm pretty sure that if you fail it, in the sense that you let it run out, then the boss self-destructs, because it is a prototype. And what you basically can do is let it run out and keep killing enemies, getting up your combo points, and you might want to do that, I think. I don't know. I've never personally thought about getting good at this, because it is not necessary. Because if I haven't made this clear, you do this twice. Like in Sonic Adventure, you do this once here and once at the start of the end game, and that's it. I'm very glad for that, because I don't like it, but it's still really weird. They put a lot of effort into this. And as we're going to see in a second, as I said, you can rank this. This is part of an all S rank run. For this game, you would have to do this, and I'm personally not into the idea of doing that, if I wasn't clear so far. So this might be one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to absolutely 100% this game. There is also a bunch of other stuff which we'll get to much later, where I'm just not super into the idea. At the very least, we now have a cool transition to seeing Spagonia from above, and as I said, even though I was doing fairly well, it still didn't get an S rank, so I don't know. Don't like it too much. Okay, let's put this behind us. We have arrived in Spagonia, and this is the only time, as I said, until the very end of the game where we do have to play the flight, otherwise it's only implied. And yeah, we can't leave. Again, we are still on rails, and we are going to explore Spagonia and a little bit of the next part of the game as well, next time. And it's going to be fun. This is a cool hub. For now, thank you very much for your attention.